Welcome back to the channel. We're going to go over patch 4 today for Soulbound Online. This is their fourth patch in 4 weeks. Every week looks like they've been doing some new changes to the game, adding new things, and listening to the community. This patch is exciting, and there's also one downside to it, which we'll touch base on. There's a lot of new content. Sorry, not a lot of new content. A lot of changes to the game. And the major changes are the instant gear and station upgrades, which means now you don't have to wait to make any gear. Weapons and equips now instantly finish, as well as crafting station upgrades. So I will have a link. We will go through this, but I'll also include a link in the description to this page here, to the Steam page, and then you guys can go as well, go through it if you'd like. So they've decided to increase generator output so that we don't have to keep turning on and off certain tables. So now generators double the energy. We've cut the cost of crafting all gear and weapons, so they craft instantly, which we just went over. We've reduced crafting time to 0 on the workbench upgrades, which is nice. So upgrading your stations no longer takes time and will occur instantly. Along with cuts and crafting materials, this should make the whole experience feel much more pleasant. So there is now combat logs as well, which is nice. You'll be able to see how you performed, where your damage came from, how much damage you've taken, and so on, how much you've healed. So there's new content and world changes. It's not much, but it's something. There's a new high tier fuel. Right now we're using coal. Now there's a new in T4 and T5 dungeons, you'll be able to get a stronger fuel that's currently 3 times stronger, or will fuel 3 times longer. Hacking and mining nodes appear more often. Problem with farming and like when you're trying to mine or when you're trying to gather like resources is that if there's another person at the same site as you, it just takes too long. Like you guys would fight over the resources. There wasn't many populating to where you had to like sit and wait for them. Even if you were doing it solo, no one else was there. You'd hit 5 and then you'd have to wait for another one to respond. Like, it was very slow. So now it looks like they've made it more easier to farm. Stations no longer require wait. We've already gone through that. Generators produce twice as much power. I said 3 times, so that's my mistake there. Weapon and armor crafting now takes only 5 seconds across all tiers. Dungeon ore drops have been rebalanced to normalize dungeon rewards. Higher tier farming now rewards appropriate XP. So this is another big thing. Before, if you did the first dungeon, for example, and then you did the tier 4 or tier 5 dungeon, you still got the same amount of rewards. So now what they're doing is they're scaling not the rewards, sorry, the XP. Now they're scaling the XP. So if you do a higher tier dungeon, you should get more XP. So that's what's happening here. Also, what they're doing now is they're making it so that it's you get more experience playing with more people. So if you play with a group of 2 people or a group of 3 people, you'll get more experience for grouping up, which is nice. Now it promotes playing with friends, and being able to play higher tier dungeons and clearing them and not getting the same XP as you would if you just soloed. A T5 and T6 Steam and Elixir recipes were wonky. They weren't showing the right materials to craft. Now that's fixed. Now you can easily craft them. Bud's farming requirements for purchasing seeds have been aligned with farming level requirements. Those were wonky as well. Looks like they're a little bit easier or working better now. What else? The weekly nice. So the weekly commission cosmetic reward, last patch they included events. The events are very lackluster. Like, they're pretty boring. Besides the fishing event is okay, but the raid boss is super easy. It's more of like just do it so you can get the cosmetic coins. And now you can buy cosmetics in the shop. So the first week's cosmetic, well, it's been like there for like 2 weeks, I believe, is the robot. I didn't like the robot cosmetic. I'm glad it's gone. And now there's a new weekly cosmetic, which I'm not sure what it is. I haven't checked out what it is. So maybe I'll grab that one if it's cool looking. Gear, abilities, and combat. So that's what we just went over, the experience rate, combat skill scaling, XP dungeons. Yep, we went over that. Crafting gear no longer okay. So this is where the one downside is. I'm not sure where the crafting gear is no longer legendary due to feedback. I'm not sure where this feedback came from. But I can also understand why it's no longer legendary. For me, at least, when I'm grinding a dungeon and I get a legendary gear drop, it's so much more exciting to be able to get that drop. Whereas before, you were able to just gather the material, and it wasn't very much material either, mind you, to just craft whatever legendary you wanted. Which kind of takes away from playing the dungeons, right? And the RNG aspect. So I can also understand if people having bad RNG, now it's even harder to get legendary gear. And if you do get a drop for a legendary gear, it's probably not for your character. Then you have to go through trading and things like that, right? So what people were recommending, what I was reading on Discord, and people were recommending is a better tier for the dungeon. So like a different, something higher than legendary, like an exotic or a unique. That way you can still get the feeling of like the exciting feeling of getting a rare drop or a unique drop in the dungeon without losing the aspect of being able to craft good legendary gear still. I feel like I agree with that just because like playing the dungeon is where most of the fun is. Playing with friends, killing monsters, leveling up and building your character. And then being able to, on top of that, to get an amazing rare drop. That's where the fun is at for me at least. And I'm not going to go through the rest of these. It looks like they just made a couple of fixes on some of the abilities, some of the items as well. And then some more quests here and dialogue features. So I'll leave that up to you guys to go through. I just wanted to hit the most major things, which was, which I just covered. And I'm gonna be playing this game. Like I'm excited to hop on after I get off this video and just kind of try out the new stuff, browse around, play a little bit, and then maybe even record a video on it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.